Maybe like me, you've had some really impactful experiences in your life that have led you to have all kinds of hurt and pain. And maybe those wounds have caused you to distrust all kinds of people, family members, companies, organizations, you name it. This is not uncommon to the human condition. I mean, the world is full of selfish and prideful and broken people. And, our experiences with that often lead us to experience relationships as a source of pain and suffering and honestly risk. The biblical world experienced that same human condition in the same way. I mean, just take a look throughout the Psalms, and I think you'll catch a glimpse of what I'm talking about. Let me give you one example here in Psalm 22, where David's experiencing some pain, and see how he's expressing that to the Lord. Psalm 22, starting in verse 1, he begins by saying, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me? So far from my cries of anguish. My God, I cry out by day, but you do not answer, and by night I find no rest. Can you relate to David? I know I can. He even goes on to say, in our ancestors, they put their trust in you, and they trusted you, and you delivered them. To you they cried out and were saved. And in you they trusted and were not put to shame. But I'm a worm, not a man. I'm scorned by everyone and despised by the people. So then how can David go on in the same song to say in verse 24, for he has not despised or scorned the suffering of the afflicted one. He has not hidden his face from him, but has listened to his cry for help. From you comes the theme of my praise in the great assembly. Before those who fear you, I will fulfill my vows. Then down in 27, all the ends of the earth will remember and turn to the Lord, and all the families and the nations will bow down before him. For the dominion belongs to the Lord, and he rules over all the nations. David has such a hope in the Lord, and he's like, he is the source of why I sing at all. What changed from the beginning of that psalm, and what has David experienced in his life that leads him to end it in that way, that even his deepest of pains and struggles can express so much trust in who the Lord is? David, like so many other characters in the Bible, have experienced God meeting them in a series of moments of distrust and struggle and doubt and temptation. And it radically transforms how they see his character and learn to trust him. We can look at another example in Jonah, a man who was just rattled with fear and distrust, was disrupted by the Lord by being tossed into the sea and swallowed by a fish. And it reoriented him to trust the Lord in a way that helped him to see tremendous results and success in what God had originally planned for him to do. See, if we think about this moment of the sea and the fish, and we can see this as quite a wilderness moment for Jonah. It disrupted him in a way that helped him to see a clearer picture of who God was and reorient him to trust. The story of Jonah fits right at the heart of a continued theme that we see throughout all of Scripture, is the reality that God utilizes the wilderness to build trust in his people. Just think about Moses being called to lead from the burning bush, or when Elijah had to trust God to be fed through the ravens, or think about the Israelites having to be fed in the wilderness with the manna, or Peter walking on the water and trusting in Jesus. These are critical moments in the wilderness where the Lord developed trust in his people. This isn't just a reality in the Bible, but a reality in our life, or the place of wilderness where we can engage in risk and our doubts and struggles and pains and fears, and the Lord meets us there And he reorients our heart and our mind towards himself, and he comes through and he provides in ways that you can't imagine. And I think that's pretty amazing. Hey, be sure to go to the worksheet and explore this topic a little further, and join us in our last video as we take a look at how God utilizes the wilderness to train his leaders.